Join me now is Amber Athey, media and breaking news editor for the Daily Caller. Amber, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Wyatt.
Okay, here we go again. 18 years later, we're still talking about recounts in Florida. What's going on in Broward County, which is Democrat usually stronghold?
Right. So Broward County actually has a history of this type of behavior. The current elections official, her name is Brenda Snipes, and most recently she was accused of unlawfully shredding ballots before they were supposed to be shredded, basically preventing whoever was challenging Debbie Wasserman Schultz in the last congressional race of being able to demand a recount. Now we're looking at a situation where Brenda Snipes is apparently pulling ballots out of thin air, not reporting where they came from, not telling election officials how many ballots are even left to be counted in Broward County. So the result of that emergency hearing today was that judges ruled in favor of Republican Rick Scott, saying that they have to release all the information about how many ballots remain by this evening.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to continue to follow that, of course, and see what happens in Florida. Meanwhile, Republicans, of course, were able to keep control of the Senate on Tuesday. They have 51 seats. They flipped 3 seats in Indiana, Missouri, North Dakota. How much do you think them keeping control of the Senate will help with pro-life legislation?
It'll help significantly, especially when it comes to appointing judges. Of course, one of the reasons that Trump was able to get a lot of these Republicans who maybe weren't thrilled with him but wanted pro-life legislation was because they knew that he would have the ability to appoint people to the Supreme Court. And they've been justified in that. He's gotten 2 Supreme Court justices. He's filled in a record number of judicial appointments throughout the country. And all of those are huge when states push through pro-life legislation and those get challenged in the courts. Having conservative judges in place is the key to making sure that those laws are upheld.
Okay, so I want to switch topics and talk about a protest directed at conservative political commentator Tucker Carlson. This week, activists chanted threats in front of his house. They spray painted his driveway. I want to take a look at some of the video. It's dark, but let's just take a listen.
We know where you sleep at night.
Pretty scary stuff. You also experienced protests, not at your home, thank goodness, but when you were speaking at American University. What do you make of all sort of these intrusive attempts to silence conservative voices in particular?
Yes, in the Tucker Carlson case, I don't even want to call these activists or protesters. This is a mob, plain and simple. These are people who went to his home in the attempts to threaten and intimidate him into silence. He was not even home at the time. His wife was home alone. She was so terrified by these people knocking on her door and apparently trying to break the door down that she locked herself in the pantry and called 911 thinking that she was the victim of a home invasion. So when these people talk about protesting, what they're really doing is they're trying to prevent the other side from speaking at all rather than challenging them on the basis of their ideas.
It's crazy. And it's, like I said, it's not just him. Of course, there have been other attempts that people say attempts to silence conservative voices, like on social media and stuff like that. Why do you think that is? Or do you think it's just that we're beginning to notice it more?
I think that there's 2 things going on here. On one hand, these are groups that fundamentally don't believe in reasoned discourse and having dialogue with people whose views they oppose because they think that the political opponent is evil. This is the same group. This group at Tucker Carlson's house is called Smash Racism DC. They were the ones that were also responsible for chasing Ted Cruz and his wife out of the restaurant in DC. And they were also responsible in part for the inauguration protest where they were planning on shutting down the DC Metro, which is it's terrorism. It's actual terrorism. So this is a group that doesn't believe in having a conversation with people that they disagree with. They believe in silencing them entirely. So I think it has gotten more prominent in the past couple of years. This is a semi-new phenomenon, and unfortunately, everyone needs to denounce this or else it's only going to get worse.
I'm sure many will. Amber Athey, media and breaking news editor for the Daily Caller, thanks so much.
Thank you.